Hello, welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is the show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world all about their music and their process for making it. I'm your host, Isaac Anderson, and today I get to sit down with the band Karmic. Without any further ado, here's the interview. Well guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. I want to start at the beginning of your musical journeys, just like we do with all the other artists that we talk to on the show. So the first question I want to ask you is, what is your earliest musical memory?
I have Queen, I Want to Break Free in my grandma's living room space where she used to play cards with her friends. And I found this record that my parents had stashed and I put it on the record player and it blew my mind. And I think I was like 5 or 6 years old. And that song just stayed with me for my entire life. And still when I put it on, I'm in a good mood.
Yeah, I think mine is also like in my family home where they were blasting, I think Prince. They were really into Prince. And I heard 1999 for the first time. And I was like,
yeah.
What is this? I just remember the feeling that I got. And I was like, whatever is happening, like, that's what I want to do one day. But I didn't quite understand. It was just a feeling that kind of just felt, freeing.
I actually don't have a one song memory of like, oh, this was the first song I remember hearing, but I was just obsessed with music from a very young age, singing, dancing, to everything. You know, my parents both had different musical tastes. So I had a lot of Elvis growing up and Beatles. So both sides gravitated towards my own music too.
Well, obviously you guys have a great passion for music, and I want to get into your songwriting in just a little bit. But before I do, I want to know, was there a moment for each of you that you realized that music wasn't going to just be this side hobby type of thing? This was going to be your thing?
When we all met each other, we were all on the same page. Like, we want to do music and that's all we want to do. So, and that's hard. That's hard to like commit to, because being a musician obviously it's a struggle financially and just everything wise. But I think that's why I think we gravitated towards each other, because we knew like it wasn't this or nothing. Like, we have to make this happen. And we did, which is crazy. It's happening still. So I feel really grateful to have met people like these guys, because every time, there's so many times you want to give up because, you know, your music isn't hitting or, you know, things aren't happening. But like, I think it's so important to really just keep doing it and keep trying and not listen to the voice in your head that's being like, you're not good enough, your songwriting sucks. Like, you can get past that. And I think we all have gone through that. You can make it happen, really. It sounds cheesy, but it's true.
Yeah, I think that's the journey of every artist too. Like, every artist goes through those ups and downs and waves. But if it's inside of you, which is how I feel, like, I don't remember a time I started. I just was always obsessed with music and singing and performing. And I, from a very young age, it was like, it's just kind of what brought me the most joy. And I remember I was in theater, like, starting at age 10. And like, that was my happy, like, I could have stayed there all day, all night in rehearsals. Just like, it was my joy. Like, I can't explain it. But so, yeah, I mean, I think music just calls you. And if it's really your passion, you're going to do it, because like Laura said, it's not like people throwing a ton of money at you all the time. And, you have to go, there's a lot of time spent working where you don't know where it's going. And
you're not making any money most of the time.
Exactly. It's a huge gamble, but it's like, if it's in you, you have to do it.
Summertime's gone, summertime's gone, summertime.
I first heard your music, the first thing that stood out to me was the diversity of the sounds that you guys get. And I think that comes from your wealth of different backgrounds in music and your different loves for different artists. And there was so many awesome funk stuff, and there was soul things and indie stuff. You guys put that chocolate in that peanut butter like no one else, like for real. It was really, really awesome. In your mind, what do you think each member's musical stamp on the arrangement is like?
Laura and Peter kind of started Karmic in one form, and Laura kind of started the aesthetic and like I guess the direction of where kind of Karmic was gonna be going. I definitely bring a lot of soul to the project.
Oh yeah. Peter brings the funk with those bass lines.
Yeah.
Oh, Peter's bass lines, like it was so fat. I think I gained like 10 pounds after I heard it the first time. Like, oh my gosh.
Cheers, man.
But yeah, that's what makes
collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration. It's like a fine wine. You know, we are a really good blend of.
Yeah,
we're all our own grapes. Sorry, go Pete.
No, sorry. You're right. It's exactly like that. Yeah. It's so cool. You know, like there were very, very many moments where we didn't even need to talk much about it. You know, like everybody kind of did their little thing, a little pruning, a little cutting, a little watering, and then we had a beautiful plant and there was no question. You know, it was really a very organic process. For the most part. And I think, you know, living together is helpful in many ways. It might also be too much at times. You know, I was watching the Red Hot Chili Peppers documentary, and they're just like best buds forever. But they have moments, you know, where they need their thing. And Queen was the best because they're so interesting. You know, like Brian May was like a very renowned, like, you know, scientists and published papers in Nature and, you know, like crazy stuff. And then they're playing Wembley Stadium, rocking out to like hundreds of thousands of people. But the chemistry of that is really fascinating. And I think for us, it was just really, really cool how that whole record came together. You know, everybody brought their own suffering and joy, and all of the, you know, all the emotions kind of organically kind of came in there. And it was really beautiful, man. I'm super proud of that record.
As you mentioned before, all you guys went to music school. I believe it was the Los Angeles College of Music, correct?
It was called something else when we were there, but now, yeah, Los Angeles College of Music.
What were some takeaways that you got from that experience that people might not expect?
A lot of jazz. Oh my God, jazz was the best. Yeah.
At first, I didn't know the inner workings of jazz music being as a singer, and like it was really cool to kind of be immersed in that.
And the musicianship, like I think it's so important to like be able as a singer, especially because we get a bad rep, like not knowing what key we're in or like how to like count off a song. And I thought that was really cool that they taught us how to like really like lead a band, you know?
And you meet people from all over the world too. You know, it's so cool. All of a sudden you're in a band with a Swede and a Japanese guy and like a girl from Turkey. And, you know, it's just all over the world, and you're playing music together. It's pretty magical.
Yeah, we were lucky for sure.
Yeah, I mean, people brought people out from Austria. So
I think now would be an awesome time to bring up your new album, and it's called Disco Submarine. Awesome album with a lot of awesome tracks. I personally go in between Autobahn and Boomerang a lot. Those are my two favorites on the track list. And what was that process like when you guys recorded it? Because I believe you guys were living in the same house together at the time, and it was during COVID restrictions, but I don't know. How was that for you guys?
We were all living together, and we have a studio in the back. So
yeah, it was perfect.
Specifically, literally recording was at our house.
Our home studio, yeah, it was fun. And that was the Disco Submarine. That was our home studio, was the submarine that we were in, living in. And that's how David, who's not here, he came up with that. concept because it did feel that way because COVID, so much was going on the outside. Like it felt like we were in water really because there was so much emotions. We were in COVID, Black Lives Matter, like LA was literally on fire as well. Because the mountains were burning and we couldn't even go outside. It looked like the end of the world. But we kind of were lucky enough that we had this like submarine like space in our studio where we felt really safe and we got to record our album, which is crazy.
It's crazy. You wake up, you get some coffee, you take the dog for a walk, and then bada boom, bada bang. It's and you're back in the beat world. And then you go to bed.
Lucky that we live in LA because, the weather is pretty much perfect every day. And so we had a garden. So when we wanted to get some air, come up for air out of the submarine, we could just hang out in the garden, do some bird watching, come up with more ideas like outside. Yeah, we were we were lucky because a lot of people didn't have that experience, with COVID. You were stuck inside. But we had each other for support, and we had our music.
Well, that record is out right now on streaming or wherever you like to listen to music. And if people want to keep up with Karmic, how can they find you guys online?
This is Karmic is our handle on everything. But you can go to thisiskarmic.com and get to any place you need to go, probably.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We really appreciate it. But before you go, I have one more question. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a Big Bang Radio spotlight before, but I'm a musician, but I also love film. And I believe those two worlds aren't too far away from each other, and musicians like us just have a soft spot for it. So, before you go, what is your favorite movie?
I'm going to go with The Nightmare Before Christmas. Danny Elfman is like such a huge influence on me. It's just a good movie, music and visually and everything. Yeah. And so I'm going to go with that one.
I'm going to say, I have to say too, Forrest Gump, definitely that movie blew my mind on so many levels. When I first saw it, I was like, wow. And Phantom Thread, Paul Thomas Anderson. The music is incredible and the movie is incredible. And that's probably, yeah, I would take those two movies on a lonely island.
This is too hard for me, so I'm going to pick the last movie I watched, which was Elf, also a holiday classic. Whatever movie's my favorite is the last one I watched, usually.
Thanks to Karmic for sitting down with us and talking all about their music. If you want to see more interviews just like this, you can find us online at Studio 67 NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson, and until next time, stay lovely.